Yeah, no, so I like talking to people.
Mm-hmm.
And so in high school, I couldn't drive.
Oh, right.
And so people would give me rides home, and we would just end up like sitting in the car talking forever.
Oh, okay, cool.
And that's how I made like some of my really good friends.
Okay.
Is we would just sit in the car after like band competitions or like musical rehearsal or something, and just hang out and talk for like hours. And then at some point we'd be like, hey, it's like 3 a.m. We should probably go home.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And so I found a way of kind of working that into my life, in that the best conversations I've had with people have been in moments like that,
Right?
Where it's like it's super late at night, and we're just going about the world and the universe and everything.
Yeah.
And that's how I've made some of my best friends, is through just talking to people. I think recently I've kind of realized that I'm more of an ambivert rather than an extrovert.
Okay.
And
what's that? I don't.
So
it's not an introvert,
like,
right?
Yeah. Introverted people
Uh-huh.
are just quiet in general and
Right.
don't like being the center of attention. Extroverts like being the center of attention. They're loud and sociable or whatever. But ambiverts switch.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
And so I think it took me a while to realize that I really like talking to people, and that seems like an extroverted trait, but I'm only good at talking to people like one-on-one like this.
Right. Yeah.
Because when it comes to broader social situations,
Yeah.
I have no idea. Like,
Right. Yeah.
I've been trying to go to like more open mics,
Oh, cool.
and one of the open mics that I went to, I just sat there silently until it was my time to go.
Yeah.
So I don't know why I do this. Like,
Do you do that? I think it's called like poetry something.
like a poetry slam at,
I think.
I
Is it
think-
23rd and MacArthur or something like that?
I don't know. Well, there's a whole bunch of different open mics and poetry
cool.
places.
I need to go to one of those just to like listen. I think.
Yeah,
that would be
yeah.
Cool.
I think Sauced has them on
That's
Wednesdays.
right. Yeah.
I think their open mic is on Thursdays.
I know. Have you heard of Ice Event Center?
Mm-mm.
Okay, I think it's on 36 Northeast 36 in like Lincoln, and they have like every day of the week they have something. Like Monday nights is like a jazz jam, and then Tuesday nights I think they do like maybe, I know that like one of the nights is board games, and then Friday nights is like comedy night, and that's really cool. I need to check that out. But it's just like a really cool little place for like, I guess, artists or just people in general. Yeah. So yeah, it's called the Ice Event Center. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I should check that out.
Yeah,
that is something that everyone like talks about. Oh, the local music scene, like support local artists and stuff. But I'm really bad about that.
Yeah, me too. Do you know Christian Pearson?
The name
Okay.
rings a bell, but I don't think I know them.
Yeah, I think he's like super. He started this thing called OK Sessions.
Okay, yeah. I know OK Sessions, actually.
Yeah, and he's been doing a lot, just trying to get like, you know, the live music scene in Oklahoma City to grow. And I think he just got this thing. I haven't read a bunch, but I know he writes a lot of news articles or whatever.
Yeah,
and he did this thing with the Skirvin Hotel where they have like jazz at the
Yeah,
Skirvin
I've been
now.
seeing that.
Yeah, and that's really cool. I mean, I feel like in the last year he's like gotten a lot of like growth just in the Oklahoma City scene for musicians. I don't know, like I know like poets and stuff and like speakers. I don't know about how many outlets they have, but
yeah.
So
yeah, I think it's a weird thing that Oklahoma, and really kind of any scene, because Oklahoma has a scene for anything, really.
Yeah.
But since we kind of do it to ourselves, since it's just Oklahoma, we don't have the thing, we're not known for it,
right.
And so oh, there's no comedy here, or there's no improv here, there's no jazz here, there's no rock, whatever. Like you can pick anything and think, oh, this is Oklahoma. Like it's just red dirt music and like
that's true.
Farms, but or cowboys or whatever. But no, it's there's a lot of anything if you know to look for it.
Right. No, that's true.
And I mean, like there's Saint sessions.
Right. Yeah. Have you gone to those? Those are awesome.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, definitely check them out. I haven't gone to like every single one or anything, but like, some of the artists that I know or that are my friends, or just in general, like I'll go to some that I don't know anybody, and they're always like super fun, and the food is pretty good at Saints. I mean, I have only eaten there a couple times, but I always enjoy it, and it's really intimate too. Like the stage is not super far away or anything, so it's cool. It's a nice little venue area.
Yeah, but it's like hard to, I don't know. Well, the weird thing for me is that I don't drink.
Right. Yeah,
and
me either. Yeah.
And so, well, that's probably the biggest thing. I don't drink.
Right.
And I'm an ambivert, and so
yeah,
if I don't know anyone in the room, I'm just not gonna talk to anyone.
Right. Yeah.
And it's weird because I'm a musician, and so it's like, oh, getting out in front of people and pouring my soul out, like that's part of the thing.
Right.
But I don't know. I can't do it. I can't just be in a room with people I don't know.
Yeah.
And I also don't drink. And so there's that pressure as well.
Yeah.
And so it kind of sucks that.
I don't drink either. I mean, I'll drink a little bit, like sometimes socially, but mostly I really don't drink at all. And it's weird because, like, I'll be with people and like they're all ordering drinks and I'll get like water. And it's just like, I mean, it really doesn't matter that much, but it is weird to be like in an environment where everyone's drinking and you're not, and it's like a wall kind of sometimes. Yeah.
Well, and that's a big part of music culture.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That part of like going out listening to music is getting drinks with it too.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm also a musician. We're musicians, and we don't make a whole lot of money. So
yeah, those drinks can get expensive.
Yeah.
So
I've been wanting to just talk to you about music. So like, there's no. You kind of mentioned it earlier, but like, there's no line between genres for you.
Right.
Like,
I try. Yeah.
How did that happen, I guess?
Honestly, it's kind of new thing. How it happened for me, Adam Ledbetter, again, he made this post on Facebook and he's like, musical genres. I can't remember exactly what he said. He said something about how musical genres are just like, they're not really there or something about that. And it like kind of got me thinking. I was like, yeah, I mean, I was like, oh, I can kind of see what he means. Like, cause like, I feel like that might be like maybe not, but I feel like it might be something to do with like marketing or like just making money or just like the public or the media or something like that. How they need to have, or just as humans too, like you kind of have a need to like categorize stuff and have order and like break stuff down and find patterns and stuff like that. And I mean, genres I feel like they're useful and they can be really good, but I also feel like genres can like be super harmful and hurt and like, cause there's music, like, there's good music. I mean, I don't know if it's good music to some people or whatever. But I feel like there's music that, doesn't really fit genres or like, like Hiatus Coyote, for example, like I really enjoy that band and I like their sound, but like, I don't know what genre they would be or, I mean, they're kind of like rock or they're kind of like, soul or I don't know. There's like a ton of like different. I mean, I don't know. A lot of like modern and contemporary music too, like New York, like music, like Robert Glasper, for example. Maybe he's under like jazz, but the music he's making, I don't know what it would be. I don't know what genre it would be. So.
And that's been a weird thing for me too, is that I kind of run the gamut as far as anything that I make. Yeah. And so a couple of weeks ago, someone asked me, so like, what kind of music do you make? And I was like, alternative
Right.
and like singer-songwriter type stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like those are both really vague.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So
Yeah. That's weird.
well, yeah, but
Uh-huh.
like I had to write a 10-minute opera,
Oh.
and I also have some jazz songs, and I
Yeah.
write a lot of electronic ambient music.
Right.
So I can't put a box, and I don't want one.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, it's weird. I just, again, I think it's kind of like human nature to like want to be able to, have a, like, say what it is, or like have a, like, compartmentalize something just for the sake of it, to make it simpler or to make it easier, just like recognizing a pattern, like, all country songs, they have the same chords, or, all these songs, like pop music has the same chords, or, I don't know,
right,
stuff like that.
Well, it does become hard then too, because like if we get rid of genres, then how do we describe music in a way that is understandable? Like if someone goes like, hey, I really like this band Hiatus Coyote, how do you describe Hiatus Coyote? How do you describe when I've been into like everything
Right.
Have you heard of them?
I haven't.
They're British,
okay,
and it's rock but a lot of electronics, but it's also influenced by a lot of other stuff.
Right.
And so sometimes it's more poppy, and sometimes it's more like, there's kind of one song that he's going so fast it's almost a rap song. And so it's anything. And so to be like, oh, it's rock, you get this picture in your mind of rock. And so if we get rid of genres, then how do we communicate about music?
Right. Yeah. No, that's a good point. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I definitely feel like they can be definitely. I think they're necessary, but at the same time, I feel like they can be harmful in a way. But I don't know. They could be with anything, I guess.
But I think also, like, one of the bigger things that I'd noticed with you, it's like, yeah, back in the day, like, we had like a kindred love for like Korn and Tool. But then also, like, you like a lot of rap, and then you got into jazz, and so these are all just various on far points of the spectrum. And we tend to like classify people with what kind of music they listen to.
Yeah, that's true.
And so whenever someone does listen to anything, then you yourself are almost unclassifiable.
Right. Yeah. Another band that I know you like too, is Radiohead.
Yeah. Radiohead is my favorite band.
Yeah. Dude, and it's funny, I haven't really listened to Korn that much, and Tool I haven't listened to in a while either, but I still like appreciate their music. Like, I mean, I don't have a problem with their music, and I mean, I just don't listen to it as much. I don't know.
Right.
It's just like a mood thing, I guess.
No, yeah, and I look back at Korn and be like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like I still like it.
Right.
If I'm in that state.
Right.
But yeah. But it's still not like, it doesn't define me.
Right. Yeah.
That if I were to describe someone that, oh, this girl, she's super like punk rock.
Yeah.
What that means is like, maybe she has like colored hair and wears like spikes on her clothes and all black or something sometimes. But like, that's kind of goth, but also so trying to do the thing is not helpful sometimes.
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, if you didn't have to like put a box around jazz, how would you describe it? Aside from just like describing it like musically, like going, oh, there's usually a triplet subdivision. There's a lot of improvisation.
Yeah, it's chromatic. Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, again, I don't know. It's hard. There's a lot, like, I feel like jazz, that word can blanket a lot of different kinds of music or different sounds, and I don't know. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And because even going, oh, jazz is like music of black culture,
right?
It's like, yeah, it is partly, but there's some top-notch Japanese jazz music.
Yeah, there is. Those guys are crazy good over there. Yeah.
And like, I don't know, like, Japanese isn't known for necessarily having that like blue sound, or like culturally, and so where does that come from? How do Japanese people do jazz so well?
Yeah. I think like a lot of stuff like that, it just comes from like kind of internalizing or really listening, like just listening to music, and with anything, like if you're trying to like figure out like how something works, or like how a language is spoken, like just either like putting yourself right, living in the country that the language you want to learn is in, or just diving into what you want to know, that's part of it, I guess, or a major part of it.
Because then it's like, and we kind of mentioned this earlier, like Eminem didn't have the black growing up life, but he kind of did,
right? Yeah,
in the sense that he didn't grow up black, but he grew up like in the ghetto,
right? Yeah.
He had to fend for himself, he was poor, and so it's like that spirit of rap, which is like, hey, we're out here, we're trying to express ourselves, and we're also being pushed down as a culture, that's still alive in Eminem's music.
Yeah, and I'm sure he shared like the people around him were experiencing the same thing too, whether they were white or black.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So.
But that's still like, I don't know how like Japanese people get jazz music really well, because they do. Yeah. But then at the same time, it's also like really clean.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. It's interesting. Like some of the what are they called? International students. Like we have a lot that come from like China or Taiwan.
Yeah. Yeah.
And some of them are like killer players. Like way better than like, I mean, they're like the top players. And I mean, at first when they first come, sometimes they're really like their technique is killer. Their sound is good. They play in tune. They know their music theory. But sometimes it's like they're like feeling, or like their interpretation is like off or something like that. And like I've talked to my teachers, and they'll say, sometimes like they can play really well, but like their feeling isn't there, or like they don't, and so like once that's brought that, maybe in Japan it's not brought to their attention because maybe they're just around a lot of people that I don't know, maybe I can't
whatever
speak for
the
them.
Culture instills something different than here,
right? Yeah. So and then as soon as they're here for a little bit, they totally they come out of their shell, or it changes, something changes, and it's cool to see. But like and that's funny because like the ship I'm on is actually going to be going to Japan, so yeah, it'll be weird.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited. So.
But like, how do you teach feel?
Oh yeah. Honestly, I feel like the biggest thing to teach feeling is like listening, just like, and sometimes you have to listen over and over and over. But I mean, I don't know, for jazz at least, if I'm trying to, even for me, like if I'm trying to like learn or like transcribe a solo or something, like, even if it's like a saxophone player, my trombone doesn't sound like a saxophone, and sometimes I can't do like the turns or whatever that they do. But like the feeling, I think it has a lot to do with just like really like being an active listener, and like having no distractions, and just like repeating that part over and over, and then like slowly, I don't know, building up and trying to imitate their sound as closely as you can, I guess.
Yeah. But then still there's like an indescribable sort of thing that like there's the cliche of like, oh, I know why the cage bird sings, but it's until you're there and you feel that thing hit you in the chest, like you can't recreate it necessarily.
Mm-hmm. That's another thing, like with live music, like sometimes like I'll feel that, or I get that feeling with like some of the live performances I've seen. I'm like, man, I wish I could have recorded that, because it's like, man, but then again, it doesn't sound like, you know, it did in that moment. And it's like, man, sometimes I'm like, man, if I could just have a recording or like a snippet of that and just listen to it over and over, I'd be like, man, I could like pick, you know, pick it apart and see like, oh, that's why I really liked it, or, you know, stuff like that. But
and that's a weird thing too, is that, you know, we spent a lot of time analyzing music.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of people do ask like, oh, since you're studying music, does that like take the magic out of it?
Oh yeah.
And for me, I think it doesn't. In some ways, it, like, knowing the magic trick doesn't make it any less cool.
Right. Yeah. Definitely.
One, because someone had to figure out how to do the magic trick, and then also like do all the stuff necessary to convince you of the magic trick, and to decide to have it happen. And so if a certain chord or something in a piece of music is at the right time, at the right moment, whenever, you know, it hits you just right and it makes you cry or something, that knowing what kind of chord it is and when in the piece it happens doesn't take the magic out of it. It just lets you know that, hey, they were creative enough or understood how to arrange everything in such a way that it would make you feel that, and consistently make you feel that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you like go back to like, I don't know, earlier music, like just the cadences and stuff. I mean, that's like a perfect example of that, you know. And like that's something I need to work on too, is just like my ear training and like recognizing, like, because I can pick out, oh, okay, that's like a 2-5-1, but like an altered, like some of the altered like dominant chords or something, I'm like, man, I really should. I've heard this sound a million times, but I don't, you know. Sometimes like I don't know what it is. So
I'm really bad with inversions too. So. And I don't know. I've been working with it in my mind too, with just like, how much does it matter?
Yeah,
like. Because, again, I have to analyze a lot of stuff. And as I'm making stuff, I'm sort of going like, oh, this needs to be this way, per se.
Yeah.
But does it matter if it does?
Right.
Would this chord inverted differently, you know, have said the same thing?
Yeah. It's funny because, like, I don't know where I've seen this from, but I've heard this a couple times, is like when there's like new artists, like a lot of like, even in like pop culture, like the new artists that are coming out, it's like, do they know, like some people will ask, like, do they know their history, or like, do they know like did they listen to the people that came before them, you know what I mean? And like sometimes I'll hear the artist say, oh yeah, I've studied, you know, I know what, you know, took place or whatever. And then sometimes I'll be like, I'll hear people say that they, you know, they don't know who, you know, anybody is, but they still are, you know, popular. And I don't know, it's just an interesting thing. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and it's all, I don't know, because we are sort of standing on the shoulders of giants, but at the same time too, like we make our own stuff, right? Like music doesn't go forward, whatever forward is, just by staring at the past,
right? Yeah, that's true. Very true.
And then like we ourselves as musicians don't go forward just by like, you know, listening to a recording of a performance and being like, if I could match exactly that, then I'll be good enough or whatever.
Yeah, that's a good point.
What makes you like transcribe the solos? What makes you want to do that?
Okay, that's a good question. Sometimes, like, I don't know, I'm not the world's best or anything, but I know some people that are like, take jazz seriously, or people that are professionals. You're supposed to transcribe it's like something you do to like you learn, you see what's going on. Basically, you're like it's like a puzzle basically.
Yeah,
so like, first you might transcribe the melody, and then you transcribe you learn the melody, memorize it, and then you try and transcribe the chords. And sometimes like that's really hard for me to do, is like transcribe the chords. So sometimes I'll pick the song out, and the way I do this is like, if I hear this person and I'm like, man, like if it like speaks to me, or if I hear something my ear likes, and maybe I only transcribe 4 measures or whatever. But I sometimes I try to tend to do like the whole thing, even if I don't like some of it or whatever. But I definitely like, the first thing I'll do is transcribe the stuff that I like that I like listening to. And after that, it's super important to get the chords right. And like when you get the chords right, and sometimes like what I'll do is I'll transcribe it, and then I'll just find the chords like on this app that I have called iRealB, and it just has like all these standard songs in it. And sometimes the changes are not right, or they put a different chord change in.
Sure. But
it's really cool because then you can see, okay, like on beat 4, this is when they're starting that lick, or this is when this is starting to happen.
Yeah,
so like it's very like technical, and you can like see, okay, so like if I can isolate this, and like, okay, I can practice this now. Like I can, on the app that I have, you can like I don't know, repeat like 2 measures. And so like on this like 2/5, if I start on beat 4, and I can like I can implement the lick that I'm hearing, and so. I think that's like, transcription is a very good way to like, I don't know, just break everything down and steal stuff from other people. So
right, but we're all stealing.
Right. Yeah. True. So, that's a very popular one.
So I mean, what have you like learned from it?
Man, it's hard work. It takes a lot of time. Like my first transcription I ever did was so it took me forever, and it's still, sometimes they do take me forever, like especially like if I'm writing, like because a lot of people transcribe just by their ear and they'll figure it out, which is fine to do, but sometimes like if you write it down like rhythmically, some stuff's like really interpretive, like was that a triplet, or was he just like laying back, or what I mean. So it's like sometimes you have to like kind of make those decisions, and like you have to figure out where your downbeats are, and it really helps you just become a better sight reader too, because you're reading all these different rhythms that this person that's like a good player is doing, and you're getting their technique because they're playing with that technique, and so you're just getting you're basically just trying to become that player for that song. So it's super helpful to do. And another thing I really want to do is it's called like a lick book, and basically like you just take all the licks that and maybe they're 2-bar phrases or 2-bar licks, and so you put you write all your 2-bar licks out, and then you have like 4-bar licks, and you write all those out, and that would be super helpful. I need to start doing that, just because I can look back, and then and the idea is that you would take it through like every key. So that it's like a muscle memory thing, but I don't know. It's
sort of a like weird nonsense question, but what's your favorite key to play in?
Ooh, I really like D flat and A flat. I don't know why.
Cool.
I I like A flat a lot. C's all right too. C is sometimes it's a little bright for me, but I don't know. D flat. I really like D flat. Yeah.
I like looked at myself outside looking in, say cool to just random letters, and that is what that is. But but yeah, having played trombone and understanding keys and stuff, I can see that, because I remember E flat being my favorite.
Oh yeah,
understandably so.
Yeah.
But the A flat is a lot of fun. I think because of the D being flat.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's your least favorite key to play in?
I really, everybody hates on the key of B major. I like B major. I think my least favorite key to play in is probably A major. I don't like A major. I don't know why. I guess like the pattern of it for me, I don't know, whenever I'm playing in A major, I just don't have enough. I haven't practiced it enough.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's why I don't like it. But yeah, I don't. It's not really the sound. I guess it's just more of my personal
right.
lacking of.
Well, and that's the thing is that keys feel different on different instruments.
Yeah, that's true.
And so
even vocally too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like, yeah, my favorite key in trombone was E flat because it's 1 3 1 3 1 3 1 3, and it's like really easy to feel.
Right. Yeah. It is. Yeah. That's true.
Well, 1 3 4 1 3
right.
But
yeah.
but like A major is really fun on piano.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Because it feels nice.
Yeah.
And you have like enough black keys to keep your hands comfortable.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I think B major is fun on piano too because it's like every black key,
Yeah.
And the B major scale on piano is like super. It just like flows. I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
but B is kind of the bane of my existence on piano because I have to think of the F sharp.
Yeah.
And it's
and the A sharp as a B. Yeah. I don't know.
We're getting real inside baseball here, but it's like it's weird the different considerations that like you have to think that like B and B flat are the only keys that the fifth aren't on the same color key.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't think about that. That's interesting. Huh.
And so doing like B to F sharp or B flat to F, you're going black to white or white to black.
Yeah.
And so, but with all the other ones, C to G, like they match. And so that's what always trips me up on. Cool. And that's why I like B flat and B less on piano.
Yeah.
But with like vocally, D is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Because an A in my like chest voice is both vocally impressive and like fun to hit.
Yeah, cool.
But the range is also such that if you go on the lower side of it, it's also better for like masses of people to sing along with.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And that's just a weird thing that like where people's vocal range sits.
Have you heard of Jacob Collier?
I remember the name, but I don't know it.
Man, definitely you should check him out. He's got like something like what we're talking about right now. He relates basically everything back kind of to the circle of fifths or fourths, and he's talked, the overtone series. He talks about like the undertone series too, and like I don't remember exactly what he calls it, but like reflective harmony or something. Like they're on two separate, like they're as far away as they could be from the each other on the circle, and he just does some really interesting stuff. And like I don't know, he's really like he's a really cool artist and person.
Yeah,
like he's very knowledgeable. So
there's the that reminds me of there's that Vox video that analyzed Giant Steps.
Oh yeah,
and how
I saw that.
Giant Steps is using that like triangular circle of fifths to go. Here's as far away from each other as we can get.
Right. Yeah.
All at once.
Yeah, that's a tune I need to work on. That tune's hard.
Well, yeah, but that's like again as hard as you can get.
Yeah,
like,
it is a difficult one. Yeah.
And that is something that my brother has kind of hard on me about this, Jesus, that sometimes these spheres of like worlds get so caught up in themselves that nothing makes sense to anyone else anymore.
Right. Yeah.
And so like listening to Giant Steps sounds impressive, but it also sounds like nonsense to the untrained ear.
Oh yeah.
And honestly, to the trained ear, a lot of it sounds like nonsense.
Yeah, that's I have a hard time with that too, like especially like with trumpet players that like scream a lot. Like big band recordings where the trumpet player is soloing and just like screaming, or like I mean saxophone players too, like sometimes they'll just play like all these notes and it's like, man, I'd rather just listen to like a ballad or something.
Exactly.
You know.
And it's gotten this way of like memes, because I'm a meme lord.
Yeah.
That memes get so like deep into themselves.
Yeah, if you don't know the meme that the meme is, then you're done.
It's just like it's nonsense.
Yeah.
And I've been finding myself laughing at really stupid images that have no meaning outside of like 2 years of mental training of looking at images on the internet. Like
yeah, that's funny.
And it has, I guess, technically no worth, but like it does in the sense that like I've been looking at this long enough that it's so complex or so deep or something that it's smart.
Yeah, some people are like super like genius with like the memes they make, like you know, because like they'll reference something that was a meme, you know, they'll reference another meme and it becomes a meme. You know, it's weird.
Right. So. But like that happens in music all the time too.
Yeah, it does.
That it's, what he's doing there, again, going back to Giant Steps, what he's doing there is going, you know, essentially making a circle of tritones in a single progression.
Yeah.
And it's no one cares actually.
Yeah. Yeah, only it's like music for musicians or something like that.
Yeah. And the same as like comedy too, like there's like comedians who are comedians and it's that's a really well worded joke or something.
Right.
But if like if only the comedians in the room are going to be the ones laughing, then like are you really winning?
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, it is like that. And it's weird how it crosses over in different like fields.
Because I don't know. I've felt this way a few times analyzing music.
Yeah.
And being like, does anyone even hear it?
Right. Yeah.
If I go, this is, you know, it's borrowing from the Mixolydian. Does anyone care? Like maybe after the fact, you go, ooh, that sounds cool. But I don't think it matters beyond that, going, this is so smart because it borrowed the 6 chord from the Mixolydian. 6 chord? 7 chord from the Mixolydian.
No, it's okay. Yeah.
Well, right. And why did I have to correct myself to use the correct chord from Mixolydian? But
yeah, I mean that's true. I mean, people can get really like wrapped up, and especially if they're like, I don't know, not being highbrow, but like if they're trying to be super, you know, snooty or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. It's like not about the music anymore.
And Jazz World is a lot like that.
Yeah, it definitely can be. Yeah. Try and stay away from those people, you know. It's not fun.
It's like, you have a real book? Like that takes away from the blah, 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 blah. And
it's funny because like the real book, like I try to like stay away from it. I like if I'm learning a song, I try and learn it by ear, just because like sometimes there's a lot of mistakes in the real book. But at the same time, I use a real book too, just to try and learn songs. You know, it's definitely a nice tool to have. So, right,
but like you have to go 2 layers deep to understand why the real book isn't as good.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, you definitely have to. It's not for like a person, like I mean it is, but it's not like if you were gonna be like nitpicky, it's definitely for people that are like trying to be nitpicky, I guess, you know?
And so I don't know, like in a weird way, like this is the most important thing to us, but also it's just music, like calm down.
Yeah, no one's gonna die or anything.
And I don't know. I have this argument with myself a lot. It's like, I want to make a difference in the world. Therefore, music.
Right. Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I can be harsh on myself and be like, nothing I do matters because it's just music.
Yeah.
But
I do that too.
Right.
But I do that just with life because I'm like, man, I look up at the sky. I'm like, man,
Yeah.
nothing matters.
Yeah.
That's funny.
No, I do that too, and that is actually like one of my like things. Like, it's going to be okay is a pillar of my philosophy, both because of the zoom out and the zoom in.
Oh yeah.
In that this is the only moment that we have that exists in this way.
Right.
So it's the only thing that matters.
Right. Yeah, that's good.
But
that's good.
also, the universe is so vast and so infinite,
Right.
and the fact that most of the stars that we're looking at have already died.
Yeah.
We are so tiny and insignificant, and we are a tiny blip in the vast expanse of time.
Yeah.
It's
And see,
fine.
to me, I
It's
feel like
fine.
that makes music more important,
Right.
Just because it's like it's like a print, or it's like it's something like that's not just it can mean so much more to a lot of people rather than like accounting, or like just like some paperwork, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Suck it, accountants.
Yeah.
I don't know. No, we need accountants too.
Yeah, I mean, I like accountants. I just for me personally, like art, I guess.
Yeah.
Not just music.
No,
art.
definitely.
Yeah.
And although I am pretty proud of my spreadsheets.
Yeah. Yeah. Why not?
But I am, though. You should see my spreadsheets.
Okay.
But yeah, no, like I do have to remind myself both sides of that in the why does this note matter in this chord or something? Does it really make it that much more significant? Does it make me look that much smarter or something?
Right.
Yeah. And it's been odd in that going to school for composition is I can come in and I could fart into a microphone and rearrange it in such a way and call it art. And if I can explain it well enough,
Yeah.
it works.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Huh.
Or I can, spend hours working on this meticulous craft or something and be like, yeah, this is the thing. I did it. But also,
Yeah, that's true. Very true.
I did a serialist percussion piece, which it got played by the percussion consort, which made me really happy.
That's cool.
But like, it's also a serialist percussion piece. Yeah. It doesn't sound good. It's not supposed to.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But I spent a lot of time arranging that.
Yeah. I mean, I can, because it has to be like serialism, right? So
yeah,
you have to adhere to like the rules, right?
Yeah.
Serialism, yeah.
But
nobody
made me do that.
Oh yeah.
I just did for some reason, and
it's like a different kind of appreciation.
Yeah. But it's also like 100% brain appreciation,
right?
Like I don't know if you've ever analyzed Milton Babbitt. Do you know Milton Babbitt?
I think I know the name, but I don't know.
He was a British mathematician, but also a composer.
Oh, okay.
I think he was British. I don't know. But he was a mathematician, and he was like, "Oh, look at 12th tone. Isn't it cool how pretty the numbers line up?" Yeah. And so he wrote like piano pieces that were total serialism and all that mess.
Yeah. Huh.
And when you analyze it, it's super cool, but it's not great to listen to.
Yeah.
Like I don't get in my car and be like, "Oh yeah, let me jam some of that serialism."
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. It's definitely interesting. I guess. I mean, maybe that's just he got satisfaction out of it. Maybe people get satisfaction out of the mathematical side.
Yeah. No. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't get satisfaction out of it.
Right.
But it's like, it's so deep.
Yeah. Yeah.
That does it really
Right. Yeah. Hold its. Yeah. I see what you're saying. That's weird. To think about.
What's sort of the farthest deep you went into jazz that made you feel exhausted?
Like musically?
Yeah. Or like theory wise and everything.
Man. I don't know. That's a good question. I think it has more to do with like the contemporary stuff more than like, I don't know, like some of Robert Glasper's music. I know I keep saying his name. Some of his music, it's like crazy, and I mean, sometimes it's nice to listen to, and like other times I'm like, I can't really get into it. But I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of like people today that they're jazz artists and they make music, and sometimes it sounds good, and sometimes I'm like, man, I don't know. It just doesn't. It just sounds like chaos.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I don't know. I kind of always like. I lean towards like slower mid tempo stuff and like ballads anyway. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Well, because it gives you time to feel it.
Right. Yeah, and think and process. And all that stuff.
And instead of being like, there's a new chord every beat at 160.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, definitely.
Or just, let's bask in this like nice high note, not too high, but it's nice, and then we go back down or something.
That's funny. A lot of people, I don't listen to the genre too much, but like a lot of my friends that I know like electronic music or like techno or house or stuff like that, and like I can listen to it and like I can like appreciate how it's very repetitive, and then it'll start changing and shifting very gradually, and I mean I can definitely see why it's appealing, and I mean I don't mind listening to it, but yeah, I can see why people lean towards or like that genre. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
Does music ever make you cry?
Oh yeah, definitely, like all the time.
What's the usual, like, what always gets you?
Man, I think it's just like that feeling that you were talking about, how like it's like not necessarily the notes, but it's like how they play the notes, or like just like maybe they'll play a chord but they're rolling the chord where not every note's playing at the exact same time. Just like the rhythmic aspect of it too. Like the rhythm is so important, and honestly I just feel like it's the feeling, the overall feeling of like how they interpret and portray like their like the song that they're playing,
Yeah.
Because you could listen to two different versions of the same song, and it's just like completely different.
Yeah.
So,
what's an example of something that always hits you?
Lately, there's been this song I've been listening to. It's called Penthouse Serenade. So like it's I don't know. And it's by Errol Garner, and that song, like the way he like I found the music, and like his hands are bigger than mine, so I can't like I can barely reach what he's playing, but like just the way he plays it, like the feeling, and like Dexter Gordon's another example. Like both of those, like Errol Garner and Dexter Gordon, I just every time I hear like Penthouse Serenade by Errol Garner, and then like what's one, like Body and Soul by Dexter and Gordon, like I don't know, just like there's like just those staple recordings for me that like I get me every time. I don't know why. It's just like the feeling, especially if it's like late at night or I'm driving or something and I'm by myself. I'm just like hard. It's hard to like not respond emotionally, I guess.
Have you ever heard of Sunlux?
I don't think so.
So there's a few of their songs, but one is called Your Day Will Come.
Okay.
And just everything about the song, like it's pretty simple. There, it repeats a lot of the lyrics, but each time that climax hits, it like just pierces directly into my heart, and it's just like, ooh, yes, thank you, but also tears.
Another one that gets me is Radiohead. I can't remember which tune it is. It's like Black Eyed Angels Sing at Me or something.
Pyramid Song.
Yeah, I really like that tune.
And the rhythm in that.
Yeah, the piano. Yeah. That Radiohead's another great. Yeah, that tune gets me every time. A lot of the time.
Speaking of Radiohead, True Love Waits.
Okay. I don't know that one.
Funny about True Love Waits is that it was on their most recent album.
Okay.
came out a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Was that a couple of years ago? Oh gosh, I can't remember now. Time.
It's all right. I think I know what you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was the last track on their most recent album, and I think potentially their last album. I don't know.
Oh.
I hope not.
Yeah.
But also, it would be fine if they ended it there.
Yeah.
But Tom had been playing that song for years.
Oh, okay.
Like since the 90s.
Really?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. And so like he'd been playing that song for like ever. And they just hadn't found the right album and the right recording to put it in.
Cool. Yeah.
But even like there's recordings of it like live.
Okay. Yeah.
Even before it was a studio recorded track, it would still make me cry.
Yeah.
But then hearing it at the end of this album, in a kind of completely different arrangement,
right,
hits really differently.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's interesting how that works. That's crazy. Yeah, it's like live versus like studio recording. It's weird how different. But if even if it's the same song, how different it can be. Yeah. Like I remember seeing Tool live, like they improvise between their tunes. Like they made their songs connected, but I mean it was improvised, you know, and it's cool how it has like a different effect on you, or it can have a different effect.
Tool is one of those that we're talking about, kind of the complexity for complexity's sake, but then also like simplicity. And Tool is one that blends complexity with emotion in such a way that is perfectly spiritual.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I could say that their music definitely helped me spiritually, or you know, I felt something. Like I don't know if it's right. Lateralis
is a spiritual experience.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's crazy.
Last few things, I guess. What's something you've been watching, listening to, and playing that you want other people to know about?
Something I've been watching. Well, I mentioned before Errol Garner. He's a piano player. I think it was like might have been the 50s or 60s is when he was like kind of at his peak. He's a really great player. I mean, if you like piano music, I mean, I don't know. His technique is like not many piano players play like that anymore. He uses, you know, all his fingers are basically an instrument. So like he'll have one chord voice in his right hand and then the bass in his left, and it's like the bass is like a guitar kind of strum. Oh, so it's like a very cool style, and I've been digging Errol Garner a lot, just listening to him. Watching, what have I been watching? I've been watching a lot of videos on like trombone technique and stuff, like how to play, you know, more precise, and like just, you know, I don't know. No one wants to know that though. Like nobody's gonna watch that. And then like for what was the other one? Playing. What have I been playing? I've been playing. Oh, you guys should, if anybody's listening, you guys should check out at Saints Sessions, or at Saints, every Sunday at like 6:30. Adam Ledbetter's band, his hip hop band that I'm in, called The Search Committee, we play at Saints, and it's a lot of fun, and it's always a good time, and there's no cover charge. It's free. So, and it's in the Paseos district. So yeah. I don't know.
I mean, Adam teaches here at ACM, but like there's some musicians here that, and at UCO and everything, that like these people are world-class musicians. That it doesn't matter how quote unquote local any place is. Like Adam Ledbetter is a world-class musician.
Yeah, and he's rapping too.
Yeah.
He's not even playing piano. He's a great rapper.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And, you know, all the teachers here, freaking everyone at the jazz program is an excellent player. So, if if you ever get the opportunity to see some of these people, do it, because it's an experience that you didn't think you could have gotten here.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Are you at liberty to say like how your audition stuff and who you're worked for and all that?
Yeah, well, what do you want to know? Whatever you want to know.
I mean, I guess for people who are trying to get gigs and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Or anything, but like, what was the audition process? How did you hear about it and all that mess?
Okay, so what I did, I was really clueless. I'm still kind of clueless. What I did is I went on Google and I said cruise ship jobs for trombone, and that came up with a couple options. And there was this website I found called Entertainers. It was either Entertainment or Entertainers. I think it was entertainersworldwide.com. And at first I was like, this kind of looks sketchy. Like, I don't know if this is real. But then I was like, looked into it and I read about it, and it was a real website, and I just made a profile on there, and you just like basically, you put a picture on there, and I put up some recordings of myself playing, and then like you have to activate your profile, which is like $12, and it's like a subscription. So I was like, okay, yeah, I was like, man, I'm gonna go through with this. I might as well like try and do it. So I paid $12, and I got a month's subscription to have my profile activated. So then I could apply to like all these like these cruise lines.
Spend money and make money, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So like I applied to like 3 or 4 different like, applications that were like they needed a trombone player for cruises, and I applied that night, and the next day one person called me back, and he was from Miami, and we set up an audition, and I had like a week kind of to. He sent me some stuff like that. I like a list of songs that, he wanted to hear like a little excerpt. They were like pop songs, like, Stevie Wonder or Michael Jackson. And I had to play like a little bit of excerpts from the songs to know that to show him that I had them memorized. And I got, there were like 8 different columns of songs, and I had to play like 2 out of each column. And then, he made me play like a rhythm changes, progression and melody. And then he made me play like a blues progression, and I had to improvise over that over those 2 rhythm changes and blues. And then, I did sight reading, and that was pretty much, and it was over the phone too. Like, so I Skyped him with my laptop, and then I recorded myself with my iPad. And then, so like after the audition was over, I just, uploaded the video to YouTube and sent it to him in an email, and he said he'd look over it and advise it, and then he emailed me back like 2 days later and said, he offered me a contract on the ship, and I was like, cool, heck yeah, I want to do that. So yeah, that's kind of
how long are you gonna be out at sea?
So I leave for Hong Kong on March 14th, and then I get back. I have to fly back from Alaska on like July 8th is when I'm done.
Dang.
Yeah, so it goes like from like Hong Kong to like Vietnam and Cambodia, and then like to Malaysia, and then like Japan, and then like parts of Canada, and then to Alaska, I guess.
Dude.
Yeah. So hopefully I'll pick up like, maybe I'll speak a little bit of Mandarin or something. I don't know. I hope I can get like some experience just like seeing the world and playing and, practicing.
Yeah.
So
from some of the other podcasts that I listen to, Chris Ryan gives a lot of travel advice.
Cool.
But it's like wander around if you have the chance to.
Yeah.
Like sort of be structured in your lack of structure. And be like, I plan on going that way.
Yeah, okay.
And then see what happens.
Yeah.
But like if you don't have the time to do so, don't get lost.
Right. I'm sure I'll have some time. Yeah, I'm pretty good at getting lost too. My sense of direction's not the best. So,
but like, those are all great places to be.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I've never even flown before, so.
Okay.
Yeah, and the Hong Kong flight's like at least 18 hours.
Yeah.
So I'll be having like melatonin or something in my system, I guess. But, yeah.
Yeah, and then Do you know what you'll be playing yet?
Yeah, I'm in like a 7-piece band. So there's like one trumpet player, me as the trombone player, a woodwind player, and then like a rhythm section, I guess. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a lot of like pop sight reading tunes, and like sometimes they'll bring in like big name artists, or I guess name artists, and they'll have their own arrangements, and so we'll have to sight read those. Yeah. And or like we'll have like an hour to rehearse, and then we'll go play with them. And yeah, I think it's mostly just like, you know, I have like pretty much the whole day off until like 6, and then I have to start working and playing.
Yeah.
And I think I have to go through a lot of like safety stuff on the ship. Like he said the first week is like all safety training. And then tomorrow and Thursday I get to go to the doctor and like get like all these blood tests done and, you know, get all the physical passes and everything. So it'll be fun.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Well, yeah. And then the entire rest of the time that you're not playing, you're on a cruise.
Right. Yeah. Hopefully I'll be able to practice a ton and, you know, just work on myself as a player. So
or just eat your entire weight in lobster.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm nervous about it. Hopefully they have a gym. That would be my ideal.
I'm sure they do. But it's also like you're on vacation.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
yeah. Is there anything else? Do you have any questions for me?
So when are you getting married?
Shit. I don't know if I can announce this.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind. Never mind.
Later this year.
Awesome. Well, congratulations.
Like I'm not shy about announcing it.
Right.
Like to people,
right,
but it's also like I don't know if
personal.
I should put it on record.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. No, that's cool though. That's exciting.
The date is set.
And you guys have been together for like how long? 10 years?
9 years.
9 years. Wow, that's awesome.
Cool. Yeah. So I mean,
do you guys live together right now or no?
No. Oh, I live with my parents.
Oh, cool.
I'm poor.
Hey, me too.
In
okay.
school.
Yeah, I can relate. So that's awesome.
But yeah, no, it is an adventure.
Cool. That's exciting. That's awesome.
What else? I don't know if you're like leading to other stuff.
So you just said after graduation you're gonna do like you're gonna try and work with video game stuff, and
that's the goal.
That's awesome.
I think. I mean, I'm gonna try and get into the industry as much as I can. So,
yeah,
fellow listener, if you make video games or know someone who does, let them know about a certain podcast called BitDef.
Hey, well, yeah, that was my only question, really. So.
Thank you for doing this with me.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me and asking me to do this.
Where can we find you and your things?
So my Instagram handle is Tyler _Thomas _IG, and then my Facebook profile is facebook.com/ and then Def Jam Poet, and it's just one word. It's like, I don't know. When I was little, I had like a thing for like Def Jam poetry, and like I just really liked those like those spoken word stuff. So I don't know why I just named myself Def Jam Poet, but yeah, those are like
still a cool handle. Well, yeah. Thank you again.
No, thanks.
I'm Santiago Ramones,
and I'm Tyler Thomas.
You can find everything that I do on my website, santiagoramones.com. I make music. There will probably be more music stuff by the end of the semester, since I'm preparing for a graduate recital, so that'll be fun. But for now, you can download or listen to or whatever you want to do with your money, Songs with Words demo on my website. And you can also find this podcast on Apple Podcasts, on YouTube, on Stitcher, Google Play, and anywhere else that I don't know where it is, but it might be. I always end my podcast with my 3 things. They shape my life philosophy. Those 3 things are: love never fails, it's going to be okay, I might be wrong.